So Ladi has a guest in the house. We need to give him extra time today. I don't know about the color on the board, but Ladi.
Well, we're seeing some kind of rebound, at this time. We've seen the post-halving rise there that everyone's expecting. You're expecting some kind of post-halving pump, but that's not happening, at this time. We've seen a downward trend.
Yeah, I think a lot of your analysts have said it to take about 6 months or more before we see that huge surge that we're expecting.
And as you can expect, investors are already feeling afraid, at this time. But it's neutral. But it's tending towards fear.
Yeah, I think this your index sometimes is deceptive because sometimes we do have greed.
Right.
And then the number is not really looking greedy. Yes. And it's also not a good time. Greed is supposed to be a good time for you to be able to take profit.
Right.
But sometimes you see the market is greedy, but it's not wise to take profit.
Yeah, it's not wise to take profit, but sometimes being wise and in taking profit depends on who the investor is. Because some investors...
I'm the investor in this case.
It depends on what kind of profit they see. But let's get a check on the market now. We see Bitcoin there still trading around that $50,000 level. Late 50s, almost around 60,000. But we've lost that 60K level for now. 57,000, up about 0.42% this afternoon. Ethereum is below that $3,000 mark. $2,940, up 1.89%. So we're seeing a bounce right now in the market after a lot of sell-offs. We're seeing Cardano, 44 cents, 4.20% up. XRP, 51 cents, 4.36%. Let's get a check on the top headlines. Now we see spot Bitcoin ETFs in the United States have recently observed a noteworthy outflow this time. We're seeing BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF. We know the ETFs, it was all about the ETFs, and we saw, Bitcoin get to new highs, about $72,000. So we're seeing outflows from those ETFs at this time. Also, we're seeing NFT sales in April. Yeah, there was a time NFTs were really hot in this market. It's down over 30%. That was in April. So we're seeing a downward trend when it comes to activity in that NFT space and spot volumes at this time. We also see Bitfinex saying that the BTC post-halving price drop could last about 2 months. Bitfinex, one of the top exchanges right there in the crypto space. So these are top headlines right now. Let's bring in Rume Dominic, not the Rume you normally get here. He's the founder of Vorum and the Deputy Managing Director, Aviate Industries, joining me right here in the studio. Great to have you, Rume, and definitely these headlines right there, they're mostly bearish, at this point. And seeing that the post-halving price is not what investors, were expecting, we're seeing a drop right now in Bitcoin, and some were expecting some kind of, post-halving pump. So how are you seeing the market at this time?
13 days ago, when this Bitcoin halving happened, we've seen a really good drop in the price of Bitcoin, especially in the price action. And one of the major things that happened, especially with the halving, is that it actually affects the supply of the Bitcoin, the way at which it's being produced. So let's imagine that the miners are able to produce about 900 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. It will drop to about 450 in that space of time. And a lot of investors have been disappointed because of the price drop. But they fail to understand that for every halving event that has happened, it took about 6 months for Bitcoin to actually hit a new all-time high, and then another 18 days to double that all-time high. Now, this situation is a very unique and interesting one.
Right.
What happened is that Bitcoin actually hit its all-time high before the halving event, and right now we are looking at a situation where Bitcoin is able to double that same all-time high now in a space of, let's say, about 18 days as well. So right now investors might be angry, not happy.
Because they're neutral when you look at the fear greed index, tending towards fear at this time.
But in the words of a wise man, Warren Buffett, he says, buy when the market is fearful and sell when the market is excited. Right now, because the fear and greed index is reading at a low value and is saying extreme fear, it is a time to buy.
Right, and definitely buying is another, question at this point, because So there's a cost of living crisis right now, and we know that some investors are really, really squeezed at this time. So some might be really afraid to part with their funds, right now to try and, invest in most of these markets, because at the same time you could catch a falling knife. So definitely a lot of research, has to be done before you get into, buying any dip in this market. How are you seeing that?
With a company like BlackRock getting involved with Bitcoin, there's the reports and data showing that BlackRock scoops up about 6,000 Bitcoins on a daily basis. And that's where the company that I partner with, which is Aviot, they help people to be able to see that you don't get scared of infusing your money into this market, because they help with things like fundraising, strategic partnerships, user interaction with the market, data analysis that helps you to be able to understand this fear and greed index that we spoke of earlier, and see that it is the right time to fix your money as a smart investor into the market, so that you can make money and profit before the end of the bull market.
And you get an advice, so that's for sure, because this market is not for the faint-hearted. Well, let's look at NFT sales. There was a time NFTs were really hot, in this market, but it's down about 30%. That's the volume we see with NFTs. So I'm thinking, are NFTs dead at this point?
NFTs are not dead at this point. However, there is a shift in the market and user acceptability of NFTs. This is where education plays a very important and pivotal role, especially with cryptocurrency and in investing. And one of the things we do at Vorem is to be able to see that we educate a lot of people to see that they can engage with the market and engage with projects that have good utility, good community, and then a good development team that is developing that project. Because, for example, like the iPhone users and the Samsung users, because of the community, you might have a situation where there is a negative news on the Apple phone, and then the community comes out to defend that product. So in the case of NFTs, you must ensure that you are getting into a project that has high level community interaction, good utility, and a good development team to be able to take that project to the next phase, especially with the iterations, creativity, innovations that need to come on that project. If you don't have that, that's where you have a situation where most of the NFTs are coming down by 30%.
Right, and talking about most of the NFTs and the possibility of some of them, being dead at this time, I took a check at the CoinMarketCap, where you find all the cryptocurrencies, and I saw that there are over 2 million altcoins. And I'm asking myself, why do you need 2 million altcoins to do whatever cryptocurrency is supposed to do at this time? There was a time it was really hard for a project to actually get, listed on CoinMarketCap, but it seems now any cat, dog, or rabbit can just get listed on CoinMarketCap. How's the community seeing all of this?
Well, it's something that needs to be worked on and fixed, especially when you want to have integrity and strength of character with investors' funds. Prior to now, there used to be a lot of scrutiny for projects before they get on the public space like a CoinMarketCap, because investors use that particular platform or that aggregator, because the CoinMarketCap is an aggregator, to have a sense of trust for that project. But now, because the things that I think most of the scrutiny have been, maybe they've had a bit of lackadaisical attitude, a lot of different projects have used money to buy their way. And then we have a lot of things like rug pull and honeypotting happening, and this is not good for the investor. We need to revisit the books and then be able to ensure that we set this trend straight, so that we can leave a very good platform for the next generation to come on.
And talking about platforms, we know most of these platforms end up being, rug pulls. That's they just, get into that market, take people's funds, and they, run, at the end of the day. So talk to me about how, the community is looking at self-regulation, because regulating this industry is really hard. We've seen the SEC in the US, they've had problems with that. We've also seen what's happening to CZ, that's the former CEO of Binance. Yes. So talk to me about self-regulation. How's the community looking at, setting up a regulatory body that will actually, see that this industry can actually be well, regulated?
Regulation has been something that, every investor wants to protect his or her investment. No investor wants to go into a market where it is not regulated, because the security of your funds are not guaranteed. In Nigeria, yeah, we've been able to take a front lead, especially with the development of the national blockchain policy that happened, to be able to see that we set a tone for the cryptocurrency and blockchain space here in Africa. Fortunately, we've seen a couple of things happen in the US with the Security Exchange Commission, and then even with the Binance that you spoke about, and then, you know, the extradition for the Binance official here in Nigeria and the Interpol. These different events is in a bid to be able to see that the regulatory framework for the next generation is set. So we must continue to follow this very well and see that, okay, what are our contributions that we can give to be able to see that we help the people in top tiers of government? Because, you know, my father always tells me that you can't beat the place of experience in the life of a man. So a lot of this Security Exchange Commission, most of the bodies that are trying to regulate this, they've not really partnered with institutions, private body, and people that are well experienced in terms of understanding what cryptocurrency is, the regulatory scope of it, and what has been done in other sectors as well. And that's where you have the CBAN, which is the Stakeholders of Blockchain Association here in Nigeria, as one of the executive bodies that has liaised with NITIDA, the National Communications Commission, to be able to see that we are able to have that type of regulatory framework going for investors and companies here in Nigeria.
Anyway, we'll keep tracking the sector to see how it grows, you know, in Nigeria. Thank you so much. Great having you, roommate Dominic, founder at Vorum. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful.
Yeah, so that's it now. It's all about what's going to happen, you know, when it comes to regulation. 2023 was all about regulation. 2024 is also looking like it's going to be about regulation, definitely. So, Ini, there you have it. That's how the market is looking. We're seeing a slight rebound, you know, at this time, but it's still looking quite bearish, you know, in this market.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, the NGX recovered a bit. Even though we are not back to our normal levels.
Since April wasn't good for risk assets.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't a good month for risk assets.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're still going to sell in May and go away or not.
Right, sell in May and go away.
I don't know if
but I'm just going to go away right now.
All right, laddie. So that's it on the program. Thank you so much for being a part of Business Incorporated. We're back tomorrow. But before tomorrow, you can go to our website. That's youtube.com/channels web and watch Business Morning, Business Incorporated again. But I'm not done for the day. I see you at 10 p.m. with the Stock Market Report. I'm Ini John McQuarrie.